Hey guys, welcome back to another game review video. Today we will be looking at God of War Ragnarok, one of the best games to have come out in 2022. At the end of the video, I thought I'd tell you whether or not I thought God of War or Elden Ring should have won, so stay tuned for that. Also, all of the footage that you see is not my footage because I had already beaten the game by the time I thought of making this video, and I'd already platinumed it, and there's no real way to go back to the game and replay it basically in New Game Plus, which I wish there was because it would genuinely boost my opinions of this game. But with that being said, before we hop in, be sure to like the video, and if you keep coming back to my channel, why not subscribe? It'll make it easier for you guys to find me, and it'll really help out my channel. I think we're going to start with this game's strongest plus, which is the story. I cried a couple of times playing, as well as just watching the way that the characters interacted with each other. It was so well done that I was tempted to give this game a 10 out of 10 just based on the fact that it was such an amazing story. But I figured it would be best if I was critical with the game, and so that makes this video happen. So, like last video, I think I'm going to start with a summary of the story, just so you guys can understand briefly the depths of this game. Fimbulwinter has truly set in. Kratos and Atreus return home, find their wolf, Fenrir, dying. Atreus' grief briefly transforms him into a bear because of his still uncontrolled god and giant magic blood. Dueling it out with Papa Kratos, eventually regaining control. Thor and Odin arrive, who says he'll leave them alone as long as Atreus stops trying to find Tyr. Kratos refuses and duels Thor, and Odin tells Atreus that he'll he won't try and kill Kratos if Atreus comes to Asgard. Atreus admits that he and Sindri searching for clues about Tyr. Kratos agrees to help Atreus, then they all travel to Svartalfheim and rescue the pacifistic Tyr, or so we think. Kratos and Atreus argue over destiny, and that night, Atreus is magically transported to Jotunheim, where he meets the giantess Angrboda, who shows him a mural foretelling Kratos' death in Ragnarok and Atreus serving Odin. Atreus learns that the giants have transformed their souls into spiritual stones, and he gives the stone and is given the stones. He puts a giant soul into a snake's body, creating the world serpent. Atreus returns to Midgard, where he and Kratos are attacked by Freya. She agrees to stop fighting if they help her break the curse that is binding her to Midgard, in Vanaheim, where they meet Freya's brother, Freyr, leading the resistance against Odin. Kratos opens up to Freya about his past and the death of his family and what happened in Greece and the emptiness of revenge. And after breaking the curse, Freya and Kratos kind of come to this agreement. I wouldn't say they fully trust each other quite yet, but it's definitely much more of a heartfelt connection between the two. Kratos and Atreus argue again, but this time it's about lies. Atreus runs away and goes to Asgard instead of Midgard. Odin requests he help him in preventing Ragnarok by assembling an ancient mask that is supposedly has the ability to grant infinite knowledge. Meanwhile, Kratos, Freya, and Mimir visit the Norns, who say Heimdall is destined to kill Atreus. As a result, Kratos and Brock go on this really touching and wholesome journey together to forge Draupnir into a powerful spear, capable of harming Heimdall through overwhelming him.
It needs a blessing.
Yeah, well, the one to give us the blessing just fucked off into the tomb.
It needs the blessing of a great blacksmith.
What? No, I can't bless shit. I don't have all my soul bits. The blessing wouldn't mean squat.
It is the nature of a thing that matters, not its form.
All right. May this weapon strike true. May it be wielded with wisdom. May it be put down when its job is done.
In Helheim, Atreus releases a soulless giant wolf, Garm, who begins to tear holes into the Nine Realms. After reuniting with Kratos, Atreus realizes Fenrir's soul was bound to his knife when he died, resurrecting Fenrir, or transferring his soul into Garm, creating one of the goodest boys ever. They return to Vanaheim and rescue Freyr from being killed by the Aesir. Kratos is forced to kill Heimdall and claims the Gjallarhorn, setting Ragnarok into motion. Atreus infiltrates Asgard and steals the mask. At their home, Tyr agrees to fight, which was weird due to the fact that he spent the entire game wanting peace. Suspicious of Tyr's change of heart, Brock realizes that he keeps calling Atreus Loki, which is only done by Asgardians. Tyr fatally stabs Brock, and then we find out that Tyr is actually Odin. All this time, it's been Odin. Sindri blames Atreus for Brock's death and abandons the group. Atreus and Kratos commit to Ragnarok, entering Muspelheim to help Surtur achieve his destined primordial fate that will destroy Asgard. The united forces of the realms gather under Kratos' leadership, and he sounds Gjallarhorn. One of the most, goosebumpy, scenes in a game I've had in a long time.
If going out in a blaze of glory means that Odin burns too, that's where I'll be. A big, fat smile on my face.
For Brock.
And then they begin the siege on Asgard. Thrud and Sif defect, discovering Odin has used refugees as shields. Thor knocks Jormungandr back into time, that's why we see him in the first game, kind of a thing, and engages Kratos in battle, but is convinced to stand down to help his family, only to be killed by Odin. Kratos, Atreus, Freya, and Mimir absolutely beat the ever-living shit out of old man Odin. Atreus shatters the mask and traps Odin's soul into a spiritual stone, which Sindri smashes. Fenrir sacrifices himself, and everyone flees as Surtur destroys Asgard. In Midgard, Atreus reunites with Angrboda, who shows him and Kratos a mural Faye had destroyed so that they could determine their own fate. Atreus decides to find the surviving giants in the other lands and bids a heartfelt farewell to Kratos.
Remember our promise.
Loki will go. Atreus. Atreus remains.
Kratos discovers a mural depicting him as a revered and peaceful god. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This scene really broke me. So if you don't want to hear a kind of heavy thing, go ahead and skip ahead a little bit. But I really connected with Kratos here. You see, I spent the vast majority of my childhood thinking my family hated me, and I was often treated and recognized by my mom's husband and his family as a slave kind of a thing. In fact, one of the reasons he said he married my mom was so he could have a personal slave kind of a thing. And my stepfather's family, and he often referred to me as a filthy half-breed and monster and things like that really hurt. And it took all the way until high school, about halfway through high school, for me to have people in my life who told me differently. And so to Kratos and to me, this mural was somebody telling him he wasn't a monster, which was something that I could really oddly empathize with. I mean, I'd been in a similar-ish situation to that. And, like, I know the scene was technically different for Kratos than me, kind of a thing, but it was still the same feeling, I would imagine. Which this is going to bring me to the second time that I cried in this game. Completely different mood. But there was these bosses in the first God of War game that actually got me so frustrated with the game that I deleted the game and never actually finished the first one. And one of the main reasons why I started playing this game is because I found out those bosses weren't in this game. Which, the bosses, as I'm sure plenty of you know, were the Valkyries. They truly were a bane on my existence. I hated them. And I didn't find any Valkyries in the entire game. And then you beat the game and you get this awesome experience of going and finishing side quests and stuff if you want to finish side quests and stuff. And I just happened to stumble upon the ultimate fucking Valkyrie, and it made me have a mental breakdown. I legitimately walked away, collapsed, and cried. Because it was just like, I hated her. She was frustrating. I killed her. I beat her. Like I said, I platinumed the game. I did inevitably beat her. It took me several hours to do it, but I did do it. So I really don't have a good transition here, but I'll tell you guys my score for the game, which is a solid 9 out of 10. Honestly, was one of the best games to ever come out in 2022. And I was simply enamored with it. Now, this is another one of those games where you just have to experience it yourself. The combat in the game is so fluid. There's so much more I want to get into, but I don't really have the time. So I'm trying to keep these videos within a 10 to 15 minute range. But if you guys like, I can do a video on specifically my detailed explanation and love of the lore and or the combat, which I can do later on. And personally for me, this game was a lot better than Elden Ring. However, it has its flaws. Firstly, Elden Ring genuinely has more things to do in it, and it is able to be accessed on multiple different platforms, unlike God of War. Secondly, the amount of useless shit that is in God of War that you have to find in order to platinum the game is overwhelming. Unlike Elden Ring, where literally everything you find you can use and isn't just useless. And I really think that is what gave Elden Ring the edge. So I'm going to have to give Elden Ring the Game of the Year for 2022. It wasn't my favorite. God of War was my favorite, but Elden Ring deserved it. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like if you liked. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe so you can get more videos like this. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.